So we've finally heard from TVK Chief Vijay. Previously, 2 posts on social media, X. Beyond that, absolutely nothing. Pin drop silence. He's yet to visit Karur, by the way, and it's 3 days since the stampede. But we have seen now a video statement that he's released, nearly 5 minutes long, where Vijay has spoken out about what happened, why he hasn't visited the hospital, what was the trigger for the stampede, which he maintains, by the way, is a conspiracy. Listen in first to exactly what the TVK chief, what Vijay has had to say.
என் லைஃப்பில் இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு பெயின்ஃபுல்லான ஒரு சுச்சுவேஷனை நான் ஃபேஸ் பண்ணதே கிடையாது. மனசு முழுக்க வலி வலி மட்டும்தான். இந்த சுற்றுப்பயணத்தில் என்னென்ன மக்கள் பார்க்க வராங்க, அதுக்கு ஒரே ஒரு காரணம்தான், அவங்க என் மேலே வச்சுருக்கிற அன்பும் பாசம். அந்த அன்புக்கும் ஆசத்துக்கும் நான் எப்போவும் கடமைப்பட்டிருக்கிறேன். அதனால தான் இந்த சுற்றுப்பயணத்தில் மற்ற எல்லா விஷயங்களையும் தாண்டி மக்களுடைய சேஃப்டி, அதில் எந்த காம்ப்ரமைஸும் பண்ணிடக்கூடாதுன்றதுக்காக தான் அது என் மனசில் ரொம்ப ஆழமாக இருக்கும் அந்த எண்ணம். அதனால தான் இந்த அரசியல் காரணங்கள் எல்லாத்தையும் தவிர்த்துட்டு ஒதுக்கி வச்சுட்டோம். மக்களுடைய சேஃப்டி மட்டும் மைண்டில் வச்சுக்கிட்டு அதுக்கான இடங்களை சூஸ் பண்ணுறது, அதுக்கான இடங்களை பார்த்து பர்மிஷன் கேட்குறது, போலீஸ் டிபார்ட்மெண்ட்டில் அதை ரிக்வெஸ்ட் பண்ணி கேட்போம். ஆனால் நடக்கக்கூடாது நடந்துருச்சு. ஆனால் மனுஷன் தானே, அந்த நேரத்தில் அத்தனை பேர் பாதிக்கப்பட்டுருக்கும் போது எப்படி அந்த ஊரை விட்டுட்டு என்னால் கிளம்பி வர முடியும்? அது திரும்ப போகணும்னு இருந்துச்சுன்னா அது ஒரு காரணம் காட்டி அங்கே வேறு சில பதட்டமான சுச்சுவேஷன்ஸ், வேறு சில சம்பாவிதங்கள் அந்த மாதிரி எதுவும் நடந்துடக்கூடாதுன்றதுக்காக தான் நாங்கள் அவாய்ட் பண்ணோம். இந்த நேரத்தில் சொந்தங்களை இழந்து தவிக்கிற இத்தனை குடும்பங்களுக்கும் என்னுடைய ஆழ்ந்த இரங்கலை தெரிவிச்சுக்கிறேன். எனக்கு தெரியும், என்ன சொன்னாலும் இது ஈடாகாதுன்னு எனக்கு தெரியும். ஹாஸ்பிட்டலில் ட்ரீட் பண்ணிகிட்ருக்கிற எல்லாருமே சீக்கிரமாக க்யூர் ஆகி வரணுன்றதை இந்த நேரத்தில் நான் வேண்டிக்கிறேன். கூடிய சீக்கிரமே உங்கள் எல்லாரையும் நான் சந்திக்கிறேன். இந்த நேரத்தில் எங்களுடைய வலிகளை, எங்களுடைய நிலைமையை புரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டு எங்களுக்காக பேசின அரசியல் கட்சிகளை சார்ந்த நண்பர்கள், தலைவர்கள் அனைவருக்கும் என்னுடைய நன்றியை தெரிவிச்சுக்கிறேன். கிட்டத்தட்ட ஒரு 5 மாவட்டத்துக்கு பிரச்சாரத்துக்கு போனோம். இந்த மாதிரி எதுவுமே நடக்கல. ஆனால் கரூரில் மட்டும் ஏன் எப்படி நடக்குது, எப்படி நடக்குது? மக்களுக்கு எல்லா உண்மையும் தெரியும். மக்கள் எல்லாத்தையும் பார்த்துக்கிட்டு இருக்கிறாங்க. கரூரை சேர்ந்த அந்த மக்கள் அந்த உண்மையெல்லாம் வெளியில் சொல்லும்போது எனக்கு கடவுள் நேரில் வந்து இறங்கி அந்த உண்மைகள்லாம் சொல்கிற மாதிரி எனக்கு தோணுச்சு. சீக்கிரமே எல்லா உண்மைகளும் வெளியில் வரும். எங்களுக்கு தரப்பட்ட இடத்துல நாங்கள் போய் அந்த ஸ்பாட்டில் நின்று நாங்கள் பேசிட்டோம். அதை தாண்டி எந்த தவறும் எங்கள் சைடில் நாங்கள் எதுவும் செய்யலை. பட் இருந்தாலும் எங்கள் கட்சியை சேர்ந்த நிர்வாகிகள், தோழர்கள் மேலே எஃப்ஐஆர், அது மட்டும் இல்லை சோஷியல் மீடியாவை சேர்ந்த நண்பர்கள், தோழர்கள் அவங்க மேலே எஃப்ஐஆர்லாம் போட்டு பிடிச்சிக்கிட்டு இருக்கிறாங்க. சிஎம் சார், உங்களுக்கு ஏதாவது இந்த பழி வாங்கணும் அப்படின்ற எண்ணம் ஏதாவது இருக்குச்சுன்னா என்ன வேணாலும் பண்ணுங்க. அவங்க மேலே கை வைக்காதீங்க. நான் ஒன்று வீட்டில் இருப்பேன், இல்லை நான் ஆஃபீஸில் இருப்பேன். என்ன வேணாலும் செய்யுங்க. நண்பர்களே, தோழர்களே, நம்மளோட அரசியல் பயணம் இன்னும் ஸ்ட்ராங்கராக இன்னும் தைரியத்தோட கண்டினியூ ஆகும். தேங்க்யூ.
Meanwhile, right after this video statement was released by Vijay, you had a detailed press conference by the government where they released videos and the likes to allege that TVK is to blame. And then they even said that the reason TVK is to blame is because the cops couldn't control the situation, that the Tamaraga Vetri Kargam should have ensured more volunteers were on the ground. So is the government therefore suggesting that TVK volunteers should be doing the police's job now? This is the statement that's come in from the Tamil Nadu government, saying the incident could have been avoided if TVK had deployed more volunteers. Listen into that.
போலீஸ் வந்து நீங்கள் சொன்ன மாதிரி ஒரு 500 people ஸ்ட்ரென்த் போட்டிருந்தாங்க கூட எந்த ஒரு மாநாடு ஆர்கனைஸ் பண்ணாலும் அந்த கட்சிக்காரங்க ஆர்கனைசர்ஸ் ஆல்சோ அந்த பொறுப்பு எடுத்துக்குவாங்க. வாலண்டியர்ஸ் போடுவாங்க, அவங்களே வந்து அவங்க ஆட்கள்லாம் ரெகுலேட் பண்ணுறதுக்கு ஆள் போடுவாங்க. ஸோ இனஃப் ஆஃப் வாலண்டியர்ஸ் போட்டிருந்தா கூட இதை அவாய்ட் பண்ணுறதுக்கான வாய்ப்பு இருக்குது. போலீஸ் வந்து நீங்கள் சொன்ன மாதிரி ஒரு 500 people ஸ்ட்ரென்த் போட்டிருந்தாங்க கூட எந்த ஒரு மாநாடு ஆர்கனைஸ் பண்ணாலும் அந்த கட்சிக்காரங்க ஆர்கனைசர்ஸ் ஆல்சோ அந்த பொறுப்பு எடுத்துக்குவாங்க. வாலண்டியர்ஸ் போடுவாங்க, அவங்களே வந்து அவங்க ஆட்கள்லாம் ரெகுலேட் பண்ணுறதுக்கு ஆள் போடுவாங்க. ஸோ இனஃப் ஆஃப் வாலண்டியர்ஸ் போட்டிருந்தா கூட இதை அவாய்ட் பண்ணுறதுக்கான வாய்ப்பு இருக்குது.
Pramod Madhav and Anaga Keshav joining us live with the latest updates on the story. Anaga, bizarre statement that's coming in from the government. The onus of law and order lies solely on the, is the responsibility of the police. There's no two ways about it.
Well, right, Akshita. In fact, that's the reason why we even elect a government. The responsibility and the onus of ensuring the lives of citizens are protected squarely falls on the ruling administration, and that's why they're in power. And instead of taking responsibility, instead of acknowledging that there was a lapse in duty, the IAS officer goes on to squarely pin the blame on TVK. She goes on to say that TVK's volunteers should do the job of 500 policemen. That's absolutely atrocious coming in from a government officer. How can untrained TVK volunteers do the job of trained police officers? That's the kind of narrative that we are seeing, pinning the blame squarely on TVK. But even TVK, in fact, even in Vijay's statement, he has gone on to dare Chief Minister Stalin to instead target him and leave his party workers aside. In fact, Vijay has also cried foul by saying that there was a conspiracy that was planted. Of course, there has to be evidence before making such a huge statement. So on both sides, in fact, complete washing of hands is what we are saying.
Which is unfortunate. 3 days since the stampede, nobody is willing to take responsibility. But are we really surprised? I want to bring in Pramod Madhav also. Pramod, on what the DMK's response has been to Vijay's statement.
Well, one thing is very certain, Akshita, what happened here is that we did ask Amada IAS about this particular statement because she said 500 policemen were deployed for 10,000 people, but the crowd strength went up to 20,000, which was actually already thought about considering the previous programs over there. And Davidson Devasrivadam said that 500 people is a good strength for 10 to 20,000 people, but as one larger crowd came together, they could not control anything over there. Now, coming to actually what Vijay said, it is kind of just like you mentioned, there are a lot of questions still Vijay needs to answer, but he says that they did not do any mistake. He says that he went and stood at the place where he actually was allotted. But here, in this particular press meet, they played a kind of Vijay thanking the police, claiming that if the police did not help him, he couldn't have come over here. That was the first statement he made at that event. So, blame game on one side. It looks like both sides had to retrospect right now. And DMK specifically, we did put forward this question to TK's Ilangovan, where Vijay says, CM sir, if you want to take any revenge, do whatever you want to me, but do not touch my cadres. For that, TK claims that there is nothing to do with revenge or something like that, but he needs to answer to whatever has happened. Here, in this press meet, a very important question was asked, Akshita. That's something we need to also retrospect, and that is about, was there an evacuation plan? It is a very, very important question for which the officials said that there were two gaps on either side of the road. The public, if they want, they could have gone, but they did not do that. So that is where the role of the police and volunteers come over, because once the police and the volunteers gauge that there is going to be an issue, they are supposed to
ensure emergency exits, is to ensure emergency response. None of that was there. Who's responsible for that? Well, I suspect you're just going to see endless finger pointing. Thanks, Pramoda and Anaga, for joining us with all of those details. Let's run you through all of the updates that have come in on the investigation. Okay, joining us now here on Super 6 is Kovai Satyan, spokesperson of the Aiadmk. We also have Arun Nehru, Member of Parliament from the Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam. Vanakkam, thank you both for your time. Thank you for joining us here on India Today. Mr. Arun Nehru, I'd like to begin with you on what your response is to Vijay's video statement, nearly 5 minutes long, where essentially he's suggesting that all of this is a conspiracy, where he's even sent across a message to the Chief Minister saying, if you want to target someone, target me, not the people.
Good evening, ma'am. Thanks for the opportunity. So let's take 2 minutes to understand what happened in the last few days. Unfortunate incident. And as any political party, we are responsible for the rally, for our people, and for the safety and security of those people who are attending with the common public. This is common knowledge, irrespective of whoever the party is. So it's very easy to blame, the police there, because whatever information that the police deployment only happened because of the information that's being provided by the political party that was involved there. Number one. And number two is, let's take two videos. Yesterday, Honorable CM Sir issued a statement video where he called upon all party leaders to come with opinions and ideas so that something like this never happens. And he also made a point to tell that even Mr. Vijay would not have, realized that such a situation would have happened and would not have welcomed. That is a video from a leader. Now you have Mr. Vijay's video today, where he went with various theories and various apprehensions of what happened there. And he personally said he's pained. I mean, of course, we all are pained, but after sentences, the pain was not attributed to any loss of lives there, unfortunately. As common man would actually look forward from a leader, where he went on about conspiracy theories. Now, there's also an oxymoron here. On one side, they say the police protection was not offered to them, and hence, such an unfortunate incident happened. And today's video, you had Mr. Vijay saying that, why are you arresting rumor mongers? Why are you arresting people who have just got their own theories on board? So this is completely oxymoron. It's two sides. On one side, you're asking for protection of the law. On the other side, you're saying people who are, taking a stand with Mr. Vijay, but opposing the law are okay. So I think the law is equal across. And we still feel that this incident must be taken from an objective standpoint and not take a political standpoint here, because we are answerable to the 40 lives, all political parties here for that matter. See, for us, from the government, we are responsible for public safety. And if you had noticed the timeline of events, right, when this incident happened at 7:30, 10 a.m., 10 p.m., CM went to the secretariat to announce the relief. He took a flight out to Trichy at 1 a.m., reached the spot there at 2 a.m., and by 4:30, he had all the government functionary around 4 districts to ensure that this, the people who have departed have a dignified send off. This is the governance. See, we can go blame game, right? But ultimately, there were 2 rallies. You had the leader of opposition who just a week before, the same spot with the same amount of crowd there. There was absolutely no problem there. And a week before, a DMK had a larger conference too. There was no issue there.
No, but for that matter, sir, Mr. Arun Nehru, the TVK also held several rallies in which nothing happened until what happened in Karur. The simple point here is, I'm glad you're saying that law and order is something the government is responsible for. In which case, in this particular circumstance too, shouldn't the cops be held responsible? Why are we constantly only having a conversation about TVK being responsible? Why is there no conversation about the police also and the lack of action that they did?
No, let's be very clear on this point, right? Law and order is a state subject, and the state has laid down various conditions so something like this doesn't happen. I mean, this has been going on even in the last 4 rallies. The police have given them so many conditions to ensure that this hasn't happened. None of those conditions are followed. So you just simply cannot. No, you just simply cannot take the police saying.
The police enforces. So if they don't enforce, there's a problem.
No, without the cooperation of the organizers, do you believe that just 500 police, without the cooperation of the organizers, will be held responsible for whatever the error the organizers did? Is that the statement you're trying to convey here?
No, the statement I'm trying to make is that I'm sure the police also have certain intel about an event, how many people are expected there. If that hasn't happened, that's a failure on their part too. If they had no intel and only deployed 500 cops there.
That's exactly the point I'm also trying to make. The police have gotten information that the crowd will still be larger and asked TVK to ensure that certain arrangements were made in place. I don't think they had the experience to make those arrangements in place is the whole point that I'm trying to make.
Kovai Satyan, your opening comments. There have been several questions about sabotage, about conspiracy. What do you think?
Good evening. Let's not get into this conspiracy theory now. I have few fundamental questions. I hope Honorable MP can take this forward and give a clarity to the people. Point number one is this. They say TVK gave an estimate of 10,000 people, but wherein 27,000 turned. So that's why it went out of control. The TVK is to be blamed. TVK is a political startup. It might not be able to predict precisely how much will turn out. Giving that benefit out of last year, it is this government which held an air show in Chennai, and these are the ones who made that prediction. But still, 5 precious lives were lost. Hasn't this government learnt its lesson? Post that show, 60 crores worth of drones were purchased. You know for what purpose, man? For the same purpose of crowd management. To count the number of hits, to count the number of men and women that will take part in a crowd and how to manage the crowd better, to identify the density of the crowd. Why it was not put in use for any rallies thereafter? The question 2 is today, the additional chief secretary says 6 ambulances belong to TVK, 7 or 8 from government. 33 private ambulances were called in to help people, which means that a larger number of people took the services of a private ambulances. Why this government still not has released the number of people who are admitted in the private hospitals and what is the status quo? Why the numbers only from GH is coming out? And then point number 3, which is very clear. The police personnel present was 500 is what the Davidson Devasirvadam made a statement by calling a press meet in Trichy. And today is sitting along with additional chief secretary. Chief secretary is making a statement there were 1 policeman for 20 people. If you had government has anticipated 20K, there should have been 1,000 policemen. There were not even 100 policemen. And how many more lies you will peddle just to ensure that you do the damage control exercise? And last 3 days, in all the debates, DMK spokesperson didn't agree or didn't admit that there was a Lathi charge by the police force. And today, additional chief secretary agreed there was a Lathi charge by the police because crowd didn't give way for Vijay's vehicle to pass by. So this is where the conspiracy theory starts. The moment he started to sing about 10 rupees, 10 rupees Sendil Balaji, who is a minister there, the current was snapped and police Lathi charge took place and there was a chaos. So can't this be a conspiracy? And what is fueling the conspiracy more is the number 1 video released by the TVK functionary's wife. TVK functionary who got arrested today, his wife, she is stating, I was there. I could see rowdies praying and women fainting after the spray. And what happened thereafter, nobody knows. We are all stuck to the pothole, which where there 10-15 people fell on that pothole. And yes, there were a larger casualty. There is another video of a lady who is admitted in the hospital with a mask and she says, I was punched on my face, right on my face, and my valuables are stolen. If you say police intelligence was there and they did a good job, do you admit that rowdies, miscreants, anti-social elements all were present in the rally and your police force still did a good job?
Add to it is also a video of a woman saying that there were people stabbing some of those who were there at the rally as well. Arun Nehru, your response to what Mr. Kovai Satyan has raised.
Kovai Satyan sir, I think I will be very happy to answer those questions and relieve you of the ignorance of the events here. Number 1, you have told about the estimate of 20,000 people. You of all the people would know that the organizers along with the police would have known. And any high density police estimate, according to the Home Ministry, which is above 50 people in a particular area, you have 1 policeman. And in that particular area, it was actually planned for 20,000 people. So you're reverse working on blaming the game and then working backwards to pin saying that there's not enough police force. I don't think it holds any water. Now, let's come to emergency services, man. See, any emergency services in this state goes through, the number, a common number. It's 108. And any private or government service that is available in that area caters to the service. So just because a private ambulance reaches a spot doesn't mean it hasn't come through the government service. So I think that will clear the point. And I still don't want to make this a political game, madam. I think we're all learned people here. And I want to make this as an objective point where we don't
Sir, will you allow me
have
to
this reoccurrence of a situation. Sir, let me finish, Kovai Satyan,
Just
sir. I
hold
did
on,
not
Mr.
interrupt
Satyan.
when you were talking. So please let me finish and then you're always welcome. Now, every other point that Mr. Kovai Satyan had made actually points to only conspiracy theories. There is not enough data. And last but not least, these MPs from BJP that visited Karur today, and the lady that actually had put up another theory is, I'm surprised why they haven't still gone to the police or to Mr. Kovai Satyan to actually access the police. They have very much, the police have been there in the full deployment, and there have been other complaints with respect to other parties too. So the complaint itself, if there is any issue there, they should have actually gone to the police and made a point there. So, but all of this coming after 3 days actually doesn't, I think it's very convenient to come after 3 days is what we are saying now.
No, so are you suggesting that there's a conspiracy then to kind of twist what's happened?
No, there is no conspiracy at all. That's exactly my point. So just because it is not, see, why wasn't these information that was available from day one, available to all the social media users, available to the so-called experts on social media who knows how to handle law and order, who knows how to do crowd management, we're not being able to come across to the law and enforcement, telling that all these events have taken place. Why don't you consider this? It's just not okay if you just go online, burst out and not reach the law enforcement and again seek action. I don't think.
No, but Arun Nehru, the fact that you're seeing arrests today, including that of a YouTuber who raised questions about the circumstances of a stampede, are we setting a wrong precedent by going ahead and doing that? Are we suggesting that asking questions will lead to your arrest? Today, if I ask a question about what happened in the stampede or suggest that, look, this woman has said this, there could be a conspiracy, am I going to be arrested for that?
No, I don't think that's just a completely wrong narrative that's being said there. The YouTuber who was arrested, I don't have specifics of the incident, but he also has a history of going against the party in power even previously also. But I still don't want to go on the facts of the case and actually obscure what we're trying to do here. We're trying to get...
Surely going against the party in power is not a crime to raise questions.
No,
Kovai Satyan, go ahead before I bring in Dr.
Let me again make this clear. Let me please finish the sentence. Interrupting me really doesn't help. See, what I'm telling is he has a history of making false statements and false narratives is what I'm saying. Again, the facts of the case, I still don't know the facts of the case. It's not right for me to answer on a specific petition, but on this incident where there's a very sensitive issue of 41 lives being lost, I don't think it's fair to actually divert the whole topic and not talk only about the 41 people who needs answers. I think that's our answer here, rather than just divert the whole situation on somebody else.
Kovai Satyan, your response.
To Honorable MP, Mr. Arun sir, the fact is, the FIR, not even one complaint were from the victim or victim's families. It is the police who filed the FIR on their own and started taking actions. That is clear. It is upon the police request 33 private ambulances came to that location. The question is, did all the 33 ambulances took the victims to the government hospitals? But there are records which says that people are taken to the private hospitals because government hospitals were overflooded that day. There were no pediatric doctors. Doctors were called from the nearby district. Why it has taken 3 days for this government to give the data? It was my question. I didn't say that 33 ambulances all came by themselves. It is police who requested the ambulance to be present in that place, sir. And the point other is, TVK estimated 10,000 people, 500 police force were deployed at, but it is your government which predicted 20,000 for a ratio of 20:1, which says today, our additional chief secretary says that 1,000 policemen were present. Why did DGP contradict this statement earlier, 3 days ago at the Trichy press conference, stating that all 500 police personnel were present there, while there were hardly 100? Aren't you seeing a discrepancy in your own claims that you make? And where is the truth behind all these incidences? Did anyone start this conspiracy theory on day one? It was not started by anyone. It was on day two, after the government started giving out data, that everything was handled properly, everything was in place, we did the best. That's where this theory started. And from that time onwards, this government was in a denial mode. And today, after the chief secretary's press briefing, There is a different dimension to the entire
Okay,
episode.
let me bring in Dr. Sumansi Raman. Dr. Sumansi Raman, what do you think of this entire narrative that's being created now? That, there are certain loopholes, there are certain questions that need to be answered. You've got Vijay claiming conspiracy, saying don't target the people, target me instead. What do you make of all this?
Look, Akshita, one thing that is very disappointing is either side claims only the other side is to blame. Both sides are to blame. The TVK has to bear the cross for what has happened. There is no doubt about it. But for this local administration and the state government to say, no, it's all Vijay's fault is equally wrong. Look, at the end of the day, the buck stops with the state government. Full stop. Law and order is a state subject. Crowd control is a state subject. You can't just wash your hands off and say the organizers did not listen to anything. Therefore, 41 people died. My problem is, even in the video that he released today, there was no unconditional apology from Mr. Vijay for the lapses of the TVK people. He turned up 5 hours late. He put out a post asking people for his previous meeting to turn up at 8:45 in the morning when he is leaving Chennai at 8:45. So I think that I find that disappointing in Vijay. But equally, the narrative set by the state government, I think that also needs to be questioned. Look, Akshita, I have only one question. Chinnasamy Stadium, Stampede, 11 people died. The entire senior police hierarchy was suspended and shuffled, right? In Bangalore.
Yep.
Who name one policeman against whom action has been taken for this? Constable, forget inspector, forget even a sub inspector, a superintendent of police. Tell me
Yeah.
somebody against whom action has been taken. And I want to ask another question. Normally, compensation in instances in the state is in the region of 2 to 3 lakhs, which is given. And there are standard norms by which this compensation is given. The only other case where I can think recently where a 10 lakh compensation has been given was the illicit liquor tragedy. Now, what was the reason for 10 lakh compensation? I'm not saying they should not give the compensation. It is most necessary that compensation should be given. But 10 lakh compensation being given at the time of the illicit liquor tragedy, it was said that the 10 lakhs was being given because the state government had failed in preventing illicit liquor, which it had. I mean, there was no doubt about it. Now, again, 10 lakhs has been given. In the interim period, today, I think there was another social media post about the compensation given for deaths due to various causes. So, this again raises a question. Is the state government, they might have done it to gain political advantage. But the fact remains that a high compensation being given by the state government does raise questions whether there is an indirect admission of lapses in the law and order machinery and the local administration. My point is, again, coming back to the local administration, it's all very well to say Vijay got permission for 10,000 people and brought 27,000 people there. What was the local police doing? Why did they not stop? Why did they not stop? Let us say after 15,000 people, the crowd had swelled. Why did they say not stop the people further from gathering there? It was a narrow place. They could easily have sealed the entry points to that particular venue. They could have told Vijay, look, you're coming 5 hours late. We can't allow you to speak beyond a point because there is a risk.
Yeah.
What was done?
Arun Nehru, do you want to respond to that? I think largely what Dr. Sumansi Raman has also raised is whether we're jumping the gun and giving a clean chit to the local administration and the police. Nobody is questioning whether the TVK is to blame here. Everyone agrees that yes, the TVK and Vijay must shoulder a certain amount of responsibility for what happened. But so should the local administration. And are we willing to concede that then, Mr. Arun Nehru?
Madam, I don't think, we are here in a judgment call on a judgment day. I mean, I think we've just gone with the benevolence of CM sir here. And I still don't want to take the bait of, adding and saying if this, compensation is enough or not. Is it politically right or not? I don't want to even get there because I don't think it's right at this given circumstances below, at this emotional period in time. And I still want to just answer Suman sir's I think his statement about why did the law enforcement stop him? I mean, it was the same set of people in the previous, 3 cities where he visited. When the police had given conditions and the police had asked him to fasten up or speed up the journey or to come at a certain point, there was an uproar across. And hence, the police again have requested him again throughout the journey. There were calls made to his district secretary. There were calls made from the local administration. There were calls requesting him to please, stick to the timelines as the crowd had surged. So there was a lot of talk from the local administration to manage the situation. Now, a lot of people can say
the reason there was no
that
crackdown was because there was a concern of what the optics would be. Are we
Exactly.
No, it's
suggesting
not
that?
about, madam. I still, madam, let's be honest here. 41 people have lost their lives. So it's
Exactly.
just
So I
not
hope it's
fair.
not about optics.
Yeah, that's just not fair about, talking about optics. So there was a concentrated effort from the local administration and the local police to ensure that the democracy is still preserved, everyone has a voice, and actually passes peacefully. But when you come 6 hours late, can you imagine 6 hours late, with even, so many
No,
requests going
100% terribly irresponsible. But why didn't the administration then kick in and do their job, Mr. Arun Nehru? We have to concede that there are questions that they must answer too. There are lapses on their part too.
Any questions or any lapses. In fact, Honorable CM Sir has called upon all parties to actually come up with all the solutions. He's not taking it himself too. So why don't you see that he's actually calling for everybody to come propose their own solution?
Again,
and
that's
actually
great,
also
Mr.
take a
Arun Nehru. The fact that today, for the last 30 minutes, we've had a conversation and you've said TVK did this. We're willing to go ahead and say that, yes, this is what they're responsible for, but not willing to say the same of the local administration.
Madam,
for the local administration, we wait for an investigation, not so much for the TVK.
No, if you want to preempt me to take the blame on the police, I am not going to take the blame on the police or the administration, madam, or take your line of questioning and say yes for the sake of you saying yes. I am trying to present the facts of the case here. There was a lot of effort that has gone into preserving the, the whole democratic process of reaching out to the people, even if respective of the opposition and the, the police that is being supported here. In fact, one of the victims, not victims, one of the, people who had admitted into the hospital were two police women, and fortunately, they had recovered. But let me tell you, just because you don't see police people there, or just because in the video you don't see police people there, it doesn't mean the administration did not take the effort to ensure this rally actually passed away peacefully. I mean, the last three rallies too, even with so much support from the police. In fact, the statement from Mr. Vijay.
Again,
the statement from Mr.
the police
Vijay,
did a great job with the previous rallies.
No.
The question is, did they goof up with this one?
Let me finish, ma'am. The statement from Mr. Vijay, when he reached Karur, he said, I thank the police because I am able to reach this point, till this point. So even with Mr. Vijay thanking the administration and the police, why do I have to go and, defend the administration that has already been thanked by, the leader of TVK?
Okay, I'm running out of time. Quickly, I want to give Mr. Kovai Satyan and Dr. Sumansi Raman a chance to also give their closing comments. Mr. Kovai Satyan.
To Honorable MP, I bring to his notice once again, he is claiming that his CM is working towards a solution. Sir, after that episode of air show 5 lives are lost, there is a 60 crore which is spent on buying pros for crowd management. It can precisely tell you the density per square meter, how many people are standing, how many men, how many women, and how many children. The government has already spent money on it. You already work towards a solution is what your claim is. The question now comes up here is CM not aware of this, or he is still struggling to find a better solution is the question that will arise here. And the last question, sir, if the government has anticipated 20K as the turnout, please justify whether the place given to TVK to host their show can accommodate 20K. Because this question arises after the additional chief secretary's statement that we anticipated 20K. If we can give a justification, this place is good enough to host 20K, then we can see the conspiracy theory that will fall.
I'm going to bring in Dr. Sumansi Raman quickly for closing comments. Dr. Sumansi Raman, go ahead.
No, I think it is very unfortunate, Akshita, because there is no attempt to find a constructive solution. This is just a blame game. And very clearly, let's face it, despite what Mr. Nehru says, there is a fault on both sides. Both sides are refusing to, are digging in their heels and saying that, the fault is only with Vijay. No, the fault is only with the state government. The truth is in between. Everybody can see that. And unless the government also understands that, okay, I mean, nobody is going to blame the chief minister. In fact, people will appreciate the chief minister if he says, yes, if there were lapses in the local administration, we will identify and take action. But that does not seem to be the approach. Nobody has even been suspended, pending an inquiry. Normally, what is the process the state government takes? They will suspend the local administration, key people, and say this is pending the inquiry. Nobody has even been suspended. Similarly, what happened after the stampede in the lighthouse, in the air show in Chennai? Nothing happened. No senior police officer was taken to task for that.
So there is, okay,
That
so
is
there
the
is an
problem.
investigation underway. Let's hope at least at the end of that, we see action that's impartial, essentially. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me on this broadcast. We've heard from the DMK and the Aiadmk. Let's now bring in a representative of the Tamaraga Vetri Karagam as well. Joining us here is the TVK General Secretary, Mr. Arun Raj. Mr. Arun Raj, thank you for joining us. First, I want your response on where and why the TVK is alleging a conspiracy. Do you have evidence to back this charge?
There are a lot of questions and a lot of unanswered questions and a lot of what people have said at Karur were witnessed. Eyewitnesses have a lot of accounts to say. I don't feel this is the forum to reveal all those things. We will certainly put all these facts before this agency which is probing it. And it is for this purpose we have asked a court-monitored independent probe. We hope this truth will come out.
So why is it, and as we look at really the fact that TVK is seeking a CBI investigation, why is it taken so long but for Mr. Vijay to actually go ahead and issue a statement?
Yeah, that's what we wanted, a court-monitored CBI probe, because this particular one-man commission, this chairperson of this particular commission had already submitted a report which is not acted upon by this present government. So, we don't have full trust on this commission. I don't feel this question is fair, because on that very day, our leader had tweeted us brief amount of grief he had felt, and this next day he had he had shared us what was the pain he is undergoing, and also as a token of our party's support to the victims and our leader's concern for this cadres, we have announced a solution of 20 lakhs. So this particular video message today, which was released today, was to convey that our leader will be visiting this victim soon, and our party will remain strong, and we will be there to take on this government head on.
The question, Mr. Arun Raj, that constantly is raised by the DMK is why was Vijay delayed at the rally? And they're also claiming that the crowds actually came with Mr. Vijay when he entered, which is what led to it becoming 25,000. What's your response to that?
The time given to us was between 3 to 10 p.m. I agree that there was a delay by few hours from the time we mentioned that we'll be reaching Karur, but it was totally unintended and it was beyond our control, because the cadres were thronging the earlier city that was Namakkal. There even for it to reach the Namakkal also took a lot of, it was delayed by 3 hours, and from Namakkal to Karur, when we are traveling, there were even on the highways, people were gathering in thousands, and they were at each stop, they were gathering, and we couldn't proceed beyond that. That was the reason why the delay had happened. And as we know that in most political meetings, they happen to get delayed for one reason or the other. So there was a delay, but this delay happened even during the earlier 5 districts which our leader visited. So nothing that sort of this incident happened in those districts, but here it happened. That's why our leader has raised certain questions. And let's see, we have faith in justice. Let's see.
So you're saying the delay wasn't clearly a factor. Mr. Arun Raj, thank you for joining us here on India Today. As news that's coming in of TVK leader Adav Arjuna being booked, case registered against him for the post that he put out on social media, which he immediately deleted right after, when he urged youth of Tamil Nadu to come together for an uprising like what we saw in Nepal or Sri Lanka. There was huge controversy over that. He's now been booked for that particular post. right, so we've gotten you all sides really, and what each of them have to say on who's to blame for the stampede. 72 hours on, zero accountability essentially. You're seeing everyone point fingers at the other side, and hopefully at the end of an investigation, the ones responsible for the lapses will be exposed. That's all we have time for in this edition of Super 6. Thanks very much for tuning in.